Okay, today's lesson is going to be on rather the earth is flat or whether the earth is a sphere. Okay, so you have different trains of thoughts. You have some Israelites that believe the earth is flat, and then you have probably the majority that believe the world is round or the earth is round. So what we're going to do is go through so we can be 100% sure on which one it is. Okay, so we're going to start off a little bit of history on where flat earth came from. Go ahead.
Flat Earth is an archaic and scientifically disproven conception of the Earth's shape as a plane or disk. Many ancient cultures, notably in the ancient Near East, subscribed as a flat Earth cosmography. The model has undergone a recent resurgence as a conspiracy theory in the 21st century. The idea of a spherical Earth appeared in ancient Greek philosophy by Pythagoras, 6th century BC. However, the early Greek cosmological view of the flat Earth persisted among the pre-Socrates 6th through 5th century BC. In the early 4th century BC, Plato wrote on a spherical Earth. By about 330 BC, his former student Aristotle had provided strong empirical evidence for a spherical Earth. Knowledge of the Earth's global shape gradually began to spread beyond the Hellenistic world. By the early period of the Christian Church, the spherical view was widely held, with some notable exceptions. In contrast, ancient Chinese scholars consistently described the Earth as flat, and this perception remained unchanged until the encounters with the Jesuit missionaries in the 17th century. Muslim scholars in early Islam maintained the Earth that it was flat. However, since the 9th century, Muslim scholars have tended to believe in a spherical Earth. It is historical myth that medieval Europeans generally thought the Earth was flat. This myth was created in the 17th century by Protestants to argue against Catholic teachings. Despite the scientific facts and obvious effects of the Earth's sphericity, the pseudo-scientific flat Earth conspiracy theories persist. Since the 2010s, belief in the flat Earth has increased, both as membership of modern flat Earth societies and as unaffiliated individuals using social media. In 2018, a study reported on the Scientific American only 82% of 18 to 24-year-old American respondents agreed with the statement, "I have always believed the world is round." However, a firm belief in the flat Earth is rare, with less than 2% acceptance in all age groups.
Okay, so majority of people don't believe in the flat earth, but you do have a percentage of them that do. Okay, if you use science, even though we know Esau is the one that does that, you don't have to just say, well, it's Esau, so maybe it's not correct. You can just look at the world and see exactly whether it is round like a basketball or whether it's a disc and flat. Okay, and so as we go through, we're going to prove one way or another which one it is. You know, a lot of times you have people who study Google, and that's where they get their information from, is Google. So you have Google Israelites that love Google, and they go from camp to camp watching a bunch of camps, and they're not really keeping the law to get understanding and wisdom. So a lot of them, you know, they don't keep the Sabbath day. They'll work on the Sabbath day. They will not wear fringes, but they'll try to teach you on whether the earth is flat, the understanding of the Bible, maybe try to give you tell you precepts on the earth when they're not even keeping the law. So they don't have any knowledge. So you never get your knowledge from Esau or any Israelite that is not keeping the laws, period. You may listen to them and research it yourself, but you just don't take them at face value, especially if they're not keeping the law. You get a lot of Israelites, a lot of them are the ones, all they do, a lot of them smoke weed. A lot of them, they don't wear fringes. They think they know everything, but their knowledge is very little. If they knew everything, they'll be keeping the law. They'll be convocating. They won't be doing everything by themselves. They would have one wife. So a lot of those things is because their mind is messed up. And so when your mind starts going off into all these different doctrines, it also causes you to go off in just pretty much everything when it can be easily proved. Okay, give me Isaiah 28 verse 9 and 10.
Isaiah chapter 28, verse 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine?
Who will he make to understand knowledge and teach knowledge to and understand doctrine?
Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast.
Not a baby Israelite. A baby Israelite is someone who hadn't been in very long. They don't keep any laws. If they are keeping the laws, they're still babies in understanding precepts. Go ahead. Verse 10.
For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little.
So sometimes you can have incorrect precepts if you don't know what you're doing. You can't be a Google Israelite. There's a lot of crazy people out there that have all kind of theories. So we're going to go ahead and knock this one down, okay? Let's go to Isaiah 40 and 22.
Isaiah chapter 40, verse 22. It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth.
Okay, so it said it is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth. So you'll get a flat earth that will say the earth is a disc, which is a circle disc. It's not talking about a circle like a sphere or a basketball. Not that type of circle. It's a disc. It's flat, but it's not a circle like a ball. Remember, in the scriptures, there's certain terms that they don't use in the scriptures. They don't put the word sphere in the scriptures. They're going to say circle. Just like when you see a basketball, you say a circle. It's us that add these extra words. There's words that's not in the Bible. They don't use the word gray. They say white. They don't say gray hair. They say white. Every word that we use today is not, we may say lavender. They may not have the word lavender in the Bible. Sometimes they use very simplistic to mean a lot of things. White meaning gray. So they don't always have to put all these terms that we use today in the scriptures. That's us. As time progresses, we want to be so smart. Hey, this is Petrus color. They don't have all that in the Bible. Hey, that's either black, white, green. You know, they don't do all that extra. So they don't put sphere in the Bible. They're just going to say that's a circle. But start over.
Isaiah chapter 40, verse 22. It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers, that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in.
Okay, so now we need to figure out, is this a circle like a disc, or is this a circle like a basketball? Because if you talk to someone at Flat Earth and you tell them that it says circle, they're going to be like, oh, a disc is a circle? A disc is a circle? And then you say, oh, well, yeah, it is a circle, but I believe it's a circle like a basketball. No, it just says circle. A basketball is a sphere. It's a spherical. It's not a circle. No, it's a circle. From every angle, it's a circle. So what we're going to do, go to Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 17.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 17. For he hath given me certain knowledge of the things that are.
This is King Solomon. He said he's given me certain things and certain knowledge that everyone else don't have. But you can tap into it if you keep the laws. If you're not convocating, not keeping the feast days, never been to a tabernacles, don't stay 7 days out there at the tabernacles, you just stay 2 days on the weekend or whatever, you're not going to get certain knowledge that's higher level. Why would God give you that knowledge when you don't even keep his laws? Period. Start it over.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 17. For he hath given me certain knowledge of the things that are, namely, to know how the world was made, and the operation of the elements.
Verse 18.
The beginning, the ending, and midst of the times, the alterations of the turning of the sun, and the change of the seasons.
Yeah, so Solomon's saying he gave this wisdom to me. Solomon was keeping the law. So when you ask, God will increase your wisdom. The scriptures tell you he will increase your wisdom if you ask. And if you're keeping his laws, even if you don't know something, he'll majority of the time he'll show you the way to figure it out. You don't have to Google it. You can figure it out through the scriptures. You can figure it out through just looking outside. Okay, let's go to Nehemiah 8, verse 8. Yes.
Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 8. So they read in the book of the law of God distinctly and gave the sense.
See, we're about to give the sense to this. So we're going to know if Isaiah 40 and 22, if that circle is a sphere or if it's a disc circle. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make sense. Give me 1 Esdras 4 and 34.
First Esdras chapter 4, verse 34. O ye men, are not women strong? Great is the earth, high as the heaven, swift as the sun in his course.
See, the sun has a course that it goes. Okay, go ahead.
For he compasseth the heavens round about.
Round about the earth. Round about the earth. So it goes around the earth. Round about the earth. Not in a disc around the earth, but round about the earth. And what we're going to show through that, for anybody that's slick and try to say, well, maybe it's going around the circle of the disc. If that was so, there's certain things that would happen if it did that. Continue.
And fetcheth his course again to his own place in one day.
Right, so it go around the earth. Okay? Now let's go to read 3. So we're going to discuss sunrise and sunset. This right here is one way of proving whether it's flat or whether it go around the earth. Go ahead.
Sunrise and sunset. On a flat earth, the sun would appear and disappear instantly, like a light switch. But we see it slowly rise and set, because of the earth's rotation on a curved surface.
Because it's on a curved surface, that's why we see it rise and set as it goes. If it was on a flat surface, it would just disappear, because remember, under it is just rock. Remember, it's just a disc, and then under the earth is just a bunch of rock under there. So it would just disappear. There would be times where there would be no sun because it would be under the rock. We know that it go around. That's why the sun is always up somewhere. So these are just different things that you would automatically know that the sun, that the earth is spherical and round in that sense. We don't give you more, so we just starting. Give me Ecclesiastes 1 verse 6. Ecclesiastes 1 verse 6.
Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 6. The wind goeth towards the south, and turneth about unto the north.
See, it starts and turns about to the north. It says the wind goeth toward the south. So it goes north and then it goes the south and turns around and starts going back north. It goes in a circle. It can't do that if it's flat. So it continues to go around and back to where it started at. which means the earth has to be a sphere, round. Go ahead, did you finish?
It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to its circuits.
See, according to its circuits, according to its route. It says, and it whirleth around, whirls around in a circle, whirls around, north, south, keeps going around and around in its circuit. But we're going to go more. Give me Psalms 111, verse 10.
Psalms chapter 111, verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. If you want wisdom, you have to fear the Lord. How do you fear the Lord? You keep his laws. If you're not doing Sabbath on Saturdays and you're working your job, you do not fear the Lord and you have no wisdom. If you don't convocate, if you don't keep the feast days, you don't keep the tabernacles, Pentecost, all the feast days, then you lack wisdom. There is nothing for you to say. You need to at least keep the laws for you to even be listened to. Go ahead. Start over.
Psalms chapter 111, verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments.
All they that do his commandments. Not, hey, I know that you're supposed to keep the tabernacle. It's those that do the tabernacles. It's those that do the Passover. It's those that do and put on fringes. Not when they feel like it. Not excuses. Hey, well, are you saying I ain't going to make it into the kingdom just because I don't have no fringes on? That's what weak Israelites say. A strong Israelite is going to always have it on. Period. They're not going to make up excuses to break the law. If the Sabbath, if a feast day is on a Wednesday, they're not going to push it to the weekend to make it convenient for people. They're going to do it on the date that the Most High said to do it on. And if someone can't make it, that's their business. They got to deal with the Most High. That is what someone who has wisdom and fear the Most High does. If you don't do that, then you don't fear the Lord and you have no wisdom. There's nothing for you to explain about anything in the scripture. There's no precepts to start breaking down. If you don't have no fringes on, you don't have no beard, you working on days and saying the Lord will understand and all that other little excuses that you use, you have no wisdom, you have no fear of God, and there's nothing for you to say. Now what we're going to do is give some examples that prove that the earth has to be spherical. We're going to give the first example is how do you travel from New York to Tokyo? Go ahead.
Route 1, eastward via the Arctic. This route,
yeah. So we're going to give two different routes, going two different directions. If the earth was flat, you could only get to, if you were in the center of the earth, you could only go one direction. Not once you go past that direction, you'll be falling off the earth, or you have a wall there that you can't go any further. You can't be in the center, go north and get to a point, or go south and get to that same point unless it's going around in the circle. That's the only way. It can't be a flat earth and you go north and end up at the same point that you would end up if you go south. That's impossible. So let's see if you can fly somewhere going two different directions. And that's going to automatically disprove whether or not the earth is round or flat. Go ahead. We're going to give the first example.
Route 1, eastward via the Arctic. This route will take the plane flying eastward, potentially passing over the Arctic Circle or near Russia, then down toward Japan.
So that's the first route to go from New York to Tokyo. And that's going eastward. Now let's go, what's the second route, the way you can go to Tokyo?
Route 2, westward via the Pacific Ocean. The plane could fly westward over the Pacific Ocean, possibly crossing near Hawaii or other islands before reaching Japan.
So now you got one, you going eastward. You have another one that you're going westward, the opposite direction. The earth has to be round for it to meet at the same point. If it was flat, you cannot go east and west and meet the same point. It would be impossible. Once you go as far east that you go, you at the end. You have to turn around or fall off the earth, or there's a wall or something that won't let you go no further because you're at the end. So this is one example that is showing you 100% that the earth is round, or you wouldn't be able to go east and west and hit the same point. Let's go with the next example. Or continue.
Why are these routes possible? The earth is a sphere, and the great circle, the shortest path between 2 points on the sphere, can be drawn in many ways depending on the starting and ending points.
Right, you can go many ways when it's a spherical earth to get to a point. But when it's a flat earth, you can't go but one way. Go ahead.
Even though they're different directions, east versus west, the plane is essentially following two different arcs of the same great circle, which connects the same 2 points, New York to Tokyo.
See? Two different arcs going to two different ways and getting you to the same point. So it's impossible for it to be flat. Go ahead.
In simpler terms, you could fly eastward over the Arctic, or you could fly westward over the Pacific. Both routes will eventually reach the same destination, Tokyo.
Go ahead.
A plane can take two different directions and still arrive at the same point by following different great circle routes. The great circle is the shortest distance between 2 points on the surface of a sphere, like Earth. For example, if a plane is flying from New York to Tokyo, one route might take it over the Arctic, while another might take it over the Pacific Ocean. Both routes are great circles and can connect the same two cities, but they travel along different paths. The direction of travel, whether heading east or west, can also influence the route, as Earth's curvature causes some paths to take longer or shorter on a flat map, even though they're technically equivalent in distance.
Right. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 12, verse 12.
Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 12. And further, by these, my son, be admonished. Of making many books there is no end, and much study is weariness of the flesh.
When you study all that, go on Google and you're going from camp to camp, studying a bunch of stuff, a bunch of garbage on Google to figure out, to find out, thinking you're so smart because you're on Google searching out stuff on Wikipedia and different things. That right there is going to make you a dummy. Use wisdom. I just gave you a basic way to see that there is a round earth. How it don't take any magical scriptures or to go through, or you can just see that. And if you were wise, you would automatically know that the earth is round. If you went to school, you would know it. If you finished the 12th grade, you may know it unless you were in slow classes. It would be common sense to you. But sense is not always common. So we have to go through this for those Israelites that may not have the wisdom to see these things. Hopefully after this, they will see it and stop saying that the earth is flat. Or maybe they won't. A lot of times you have some whacked out Israelites that say, oh, I mean, yeah, okay, you can go east and west, but what? You either can go east and west and get to the same point, or you can't. Can you? Yes. Well, the earth can't be flat. That's the answer. Go ahead.
There are plenty of locations where you could travel in different directions and still end up at the same destination. Here are some other examples of cities or locations where this applies. Los Angeles to Sydney, eastward route. Flying east, the plane could travel across the Pacific Ocean, passing over the international date line, and approach Sydney from the east. Westward route. Alternatively, you could fly westward, passing over the Pacific Islands, Hawaii for example, and then approach Australia from the west.
Next example.
London to Buenos Aires, eastward route. Flying east, you might pass over Europe and parts of Africa, and then continue on a route that goes over the Indian Ocean and the southern tip of Africa before reaching Argentina. Westward route. Flying west, you could pass over the North Atlantic, maybe passing through the Caribbean or even over South America, and then head southward to Buenos Aires.
Right. So this is another example. Go ahead, continue with some examples. Because you know how Negroes are. They need a bunch of examples where they can't open their mouth anymore.
Paris to New York, eastward route. A plane could fly eastward, passing over parts of Europe and the North Atlantic Ocean before arriving in New York. Westward route. Flying westward, the plane could follow a path over the United States and the Atlantic Ocean, or pass through the Caribbean.
Okay, let's give another example.
Cape Town to Sydney, eastward route. Flying east, the plane could cross the Indian Ocean, possibly passing over the Southeast Asia before landing in Sydney. Westward route. On the westward route, you could cross over the South Atlantic, pass around the southern tip of Africa, Cape of Good Hope, and then proceed across the Indian Ocean.
Okay, let's go with another example.
San Francisco to Beijing, eastward route. Flying eastward, you might go over the Arctic or northern Europe, depending on the flight path. Westward route. Flying westward, the plane could cross the Pacific Ocean, passing near Alaska or Japan before reaching Beijing.
Okay. Let's do another one.
Dubai to Johannesburg, eastward route. Flying east, you could go over the Indian Ocean, passing near Madagascar before heading towards Johannesburg, heading south towards Johannesburg. Westward route. Flying west, you'd fly over parts of Africa, possibly near the Red Sea, and then head south to Johannesburg.
Okay, now let's see why is this possible? Why does this happen?
The key here is the Earth is spherical. The shortest route between 2 points on the surface, a great circle, can be drawn in multiple ways. So depending on which great circle path you choose, you could travel in opposite directions, east or west, and still get to the same destination. There is an overwhelming scientific, observational, and physical evidence providing the Earth is a sphere, more precisely an oblate spheroid, and not flat. I will summarize with some of the best proofs.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I wrote down some of the proofs that prove that it's a circle. One is photos from space. Now I know some will say, oh, well, that was all faked. They have some green room that they fake like they're up in space, but they're really not. That's the conspiracy theory. Okay? Even though there's thousands of photos, they're all fake. NASA went and put them in a green room. They got them up in zero gravity pretending, and they got a green room behind them, and they look like they're in space looking down on a circle Earth, and it's all fake. But we're going to get some. That's for all those that's going to try to come up with that answer. Okay? But we're going to get some that's going to just nail it. Okay? Outside of that one. Okay? Continue.
Photos from space. Thousands of real photographs and videos taken by NASA, SpaceX, and other space agencies show the Earth is a round globe.
Yeah, I know. Well, SpaceX, that's Elon Musk. You know he's crooked and everything. That's all set up by the government. Okay, whatever. Okay, go ahead. What else?
Live feeds from satellites like the ISS, constantly showing the Earth's curvature.
Okay, now let's go to the next one.
Satellite orbits. Satellites orbit the Earth in curved paths. This would not be possible if Earth were flat. GPS and communication systems rely on global satellite networks, which work based on Earth's curvature.
Right, and that's why some satellites, depending on where they are, you can't use that satellite because it's on another part of the Earth that is being blocked from where you're located. If it was flat, then those satellites would always be in view. That's why you have many satellites out there, so that when they're on the other side of the circle, it can't transmit through the Earth. So they have other satellites up there at that time. So sometimes you have a difference in satellites because they are not all above you. Some of them are on the opposite side and blocked by the Earth. Now I would say but you have to explain this to people. Go ahead.
Ships disappear bottom first. When a ship sails away, it disappears bottom first, not all at once.
Right. If you take some binoculars and you look at a ship, you'll see it's going to start disappearing bottom first, which means the Earth has a spherical shape. That's why the ship is starting to disappear as you watch it, from starting with the bottom, and then slowly you'll see it disappear because it's going around the curve. You see? Go ahead.
This is only possible on a curved surface. You can test this with binoculars or a telescope from shore.
If you're on shore, take a telescope, look at a ship as it leaves, and when it starts getting out of sight, you're going to start seeing that it's going to start disappearing slowly. If it was flat, you should just see it. Why is it disappearing? Because it's a spherical Earth. So it started to disappear. There's no way it's flat and you don't see it. If it's flat, I can see it as far as the binoculars will let me see it. But it's starting to disappear, which means it's going somewhere. It's going around, out of sight. Go ahead.
Star constellations change with latitude. In the northern hemisphere, we see Polaris, North Star. In the southern hemisphere, Polaris disappears, and we see the Southern Cross. On a flat Earth, we'd all see the same stars everywhere.
Right. If it was a flat Earth, we would always see the same stars everywhere. It's impossible for the Earth to be flat. See, these are just not even though we know Esau he can't lie and make the stars disappear and move. So you don't even have to say, well, it's a green room. Okay, let's skip that it's a green room. What about all this? He don't have control over the stars. That's for all the Israelites that want to say the earth is flat and got excuses for whatever they want to use to try to make the earth flat. It's impossible. Go ahead.
Airplane flight paths. International flights make sense only on a curved globe. Example, flights from South America to Australia often go over the U.S., not a straight line on a flat map, but efficient on a globe.
Right. And that's why they do it like that. It's more efficient because it's like a globe. It's not a flat map.
Gravity points toward the center. Gravity pulls everything toward the center of a sphere.
And see, gravity pulls everything towards the center of a sphere. And that's why it happens like it does on Earth. Go ahead.
On a flat Earth, gravity would pull towards the center of the disk. This is not what we observe.
It's not observed that way. Only a sphere does it that way. So we're giving you multiple examples how the earth is a sphere and not a flat disk. These are impossible on a flat disk. Go ahead.
The shadow of Earth on the moon during a lunar eclipse. During a lunar eclipse, the Earth casts a round shadow on the moon. Only a spherical object always casts a round shadow, regardless of the angle.
See? Only a spherical Earth can cast a shadow that is round, not a flat. See, you can look at that yourself. Why is the circle round? A disc would not do a round circle on the moon. It wouldn't make that. Go ahead.
High altitude balloon videos. Independent weather balloon experiments show that the curvature of the Earth from over 100,000 feet.
Right. When you take a hot air balloon or a balloon and put it up there over 100,000 feet and take video, you see that the Earth, the curvature of the Earth is round. This is air balloon. This is not air balloons, but balloons that they send out there for scientific reasons and people do. We ain't talking about just, okay, this is the government. We're talking about regular people. And you can see from there that the earth is round. So we're not saying, oh, it's the government doing it. No, we're talking about regular people. Maybe you should go get a balloon and do it so you can stop saying the earth is flat. You probably still would come up with an excuse that the earth is flat. Maybe they got the cameras set up inside there, all the companies working together, that anytime you go over a certain amount of feet, they want to make it look round. Something's dumb. Go ahead.
Time zones exist. If the Earth were flat and the sun hovered above it, everyone would have the same time. But time zones work perfectly on a rotating globe.
See? That's why we have time zones, because it only works on a rotating circle. or a sphere. That's the only way that it works. Okay? And I'm going to give you another example. Let's say you're here in Atlanta. If you want to go north, you can go north to the North Pole. That's the direction you would go, to the North Pole. But you could also go through South America, cross the South Pole, continue flying north, go through Australia, Asia, and the Arctic. Eventually, you would arrive to the North Pole, going south. It's going to take you forever to get there, so it'll be dumb, but you can do it. Why? Because the earth is round and you're going the opposite way and you're going to go around the circle and you're still going to get to the certain point. You might take you 10 times longer. So no one would do it. Who wants to spend the gas or the time to do it? But if you want to do it, you can do it. So that's another example. Give me Proverbs 4 and 7.
Proverbs chapter 4, verse 7. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding.
Wisdom is the principal thing. And in all thy getting, get understanding. What we did today is brought understanding, gave sense to whether the earth is flat, if it's a flat disk, or whether it is a sphere circle. So when he said he sit on the circle of the earth, he's talking about a sphere. See how you just put the puzzle together? You don't let any dumb Israelite fool you. It's no different than read the Bible. A lot of people, they read the Bible, grammar was not their best subject. So they don't know what a colon, a semicolon, when they're reading, they just read it all through when they're reading scriptures in the Bible. You must read to get understanding of what it's saying. When you see a colon, semicolon, whatever, you need to know what that means so you can better understand what that particular scripture is talking about. If you don't, you'll read it and you'll think it's saying something when it's not saying something. That's why you need wisdom, and with all that getting, get understanding. Give me Ecclesiasticus 1 and 26. Let's see how you get that wisdom. Because there's only one way to get that type of wisdom.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 1, verse 26. If thou desire wisdom,
if you want wisdom,
keep the commandments.
Keep the commandments. If you're not keeping all the commandments, not some, not picking and choosing, hey, I ain't gonna eat pork, but I'll eat pork, but I don't wear fringes. Like you can pick and choose. I see Israelites picking and choosing. Oh, you ain't gotta wear fringes, but it's in my heart, but you can't eat pork. That's like the cardinal rule. About 99% of the Israelites believe you can't eat pork, that law, but then you got 60% or however percentage believe you don't have to wear fringes, or you don't have to wear it all the time, or you can just wear it when you're going to some type of event, you wear your fringes, or you only wear it at camp if you're going out on the street and teaching, and then you take it off. When it says you're supposed to look apart and wear it everywhere you go, it says keep the commandments. You won't keep the tabernacles. You got to work. Hey, I'm going to try to make it to the tabernacles. I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try. Hey, I can't make the new moon. I got to work. Just weak Israelite. Any Israelite that does not keep the feast days is a weak Israelite. Period. Any Israelite that have an excuse for not keeping the high holy days on the dates it's supposed to be on, any Israelite that's supposed to do 7 days for tabernacles and do 2 or 3, or do it in their home, in a nice, comfortable home, is a weak Israelite. Any Israelite that keep the Passover and don't separate their lamb 5 days before they kill the lamb, and don't get a whole lamb but eat lamb chops, a female lamb, when they say a male lamb 1 year old, and they go get a lamb chop or go get something, they don't even know if it's a male, female lamb, whatever, and they say, oh, God understands, you're a weak Israelite. Period. Do it over, Ecclesiastes 1 and 26.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 1, verse 26. If thou desire wisdom, keep the commandments, and the Lord shall give her unto thee.
He will give wisdom unto you if you keep his laws. The problem is Israelites are not keeping his laws. They're going on Google. They staying at home. They telling you got excuses for not being able to make it. I'll make it next week. I'll do this. I'll do that. That's why you have no wisdom. I don't care how many books you read. There is no end. You can read whatever books you want to. You don't have no wisdom. You can read the Bible a million times. You can go on Google a million times. You are weak and you don't have no wisdom. Until you keep the laws, that's the only way you're going to get God's wisdom. Not man's wisdom, but God's wisdom. That way no one can fool you and think the earth is flat because you got man's wisdom. You got the earth, you got Esau's wisdom. You want the Most High's wisdom, you keep the laws. And then he will reveal secrets and he'll show you how to understand what's going on. The information given is basic information. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to be able to understand this information. You can go east, you can go west, you can get to the same point, which means it's a circle. A sphere, not a flat. Flat, you can only go one direction. You can only go north and get to northmost point, and that's it. You go south, you get to southernmost point, and that's it. The only way you can get to the same point on the other side is that it has to be a sphere. And with that, we're going to go ahead and close out.
Mark chapter 14, verse 3. And being in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, as he sat at meat, there came a woman having an alabaster box of ointment of spikenard very precious. And she brake the box and poured it on his head. And there were some that had indignation within themselves, and said, Why was this waste of the ointment made? For it might have been sold for more than 300 pence, and have been given to the poor. And they murmured against her. And Jesus said, Let her alone. Why trouble ye her? She hath wrought a good work on me. For ye have the poor with you always, and whensoever ye will, ye may do them good. But me ye have not always. She hath done what she could. She is come aforehand to anoint my body to the burying. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached throughout the whole world, this also that she hath done shall be spoken of for a memorial of her.
Right, so we do it as we commanded, and anytime we teach the gospel, we talk about what the woman did for Christ. And with that, we say shalom.